Hey YouTube, what's up? It's me, Maxter, and today we're going to show you how to make a custom menu for your mod pack or server mod pack, whatever you want. Basically, we're going to show you how to make a custom menu in Minecraft, as in like a custom main menu. And if you're curious as to what that means, allow me to demonstrate. So, I think we all know what the normal Minecraft menu looks like, but let me open up a pack like, say, Craft Souls, by me, no shame. But let's just say we open that pack up. And as we're opening it, it's going to take a little bit of time to load. So as you can see here, this is a custom menu. This is not the normal Minecraft menu. And today I'm going to show you not only how to make one of these, but how to make like a special panorama like I did in the background. If you notice, that is not the default panorama. And also custom music, which is not in here, but you get the idea. And even custom buttons, which these are the default buttons, but I'll show you how to make custom ones. So first we're going to want to do a few things. We're going to want to go to our web browser of choice and download Forge if we don't have it already. So just get the installer for your version, and then just wait for this kind of add focus, add fly download thing. Don't click any fake download links. There we go. We're going to save that. Now we're going to want to download 4 mods as well. If we want custom music, we don't need this, but if we do want custom music, we want a mod called Ambience, and I'll give the link to this. And you can download it here for your appropriate Minecraft version. We'll also want, of course, custom main menu, which is the main mod we'll be kind of looking at today. You'll also want resource loader, and this is important because this basically lets you put custom assets or custom images inside of your menu, like your pack logo or whatever. So right now we have, we can just download all of those for all those versions of Minecraft. We'll also want Quark, and we want this for a very specific reason. I mean, it's a pretty cool mod, but the reason we want it in the context of a menu is because it actually lets you really easily make a panorama. So if you want a panorama, music, and all those things, you're going to want to download all 4 of these mods. So let's minimize that. I've already downloaded them, as you can see. And I've also downloaded some other stuff, or prepared some other stuff. First of all, I prepared a config, and we'll be going over everything in that and comparing it to the default config the mod generates, because everything in custom main menu will be done through the config. And then, of course, we have our Forge installer, which we can go ahead and run now. Just double click, install, and we're done. Now we can get rid of those 2 things. Let me just do that. Yeah. What the heck? Okay, sorry about that. Anyways, and we're also going to want music, like an MP3 file if you don't have one already. I have this one, and you're going to want it to be named something simple, like say menu music Dark Souls, something like that. It can be anything, just any MP3 file that you want is music in the main menu. You'll also want a folder called resources. If you don't have one, just make a folder, and in it, this is up to you, but what I do is I make a folder inside of that called modpack. And in that, I have all the textures that I use in the main menu. So for the one we just saw, you can see we have the logo, we have a Discord button for if you want to have a community, you can have like a button that, basically links to anything. In this case, it links to a Discord that they can join, a PayPal if you want them to donate to you, if you're like a modpack author. This is a button, custom button texture. We'll go into that later, and like a background. This is basically like a kind of overlay that'll be over the panorama below the buttons, and this is just kind of a visual optional thing. And of course we have our custom panorama files, and I will show you how to create those in a little bit. But yeah, the important thing is that you make the resources you want. So your pack logo, you're going to want to include that. You're going to want any icons for any custom buttons you want, and if you have a special button, you want a custom button texture, include that as well. So, and it should probably be a rectangular shape, just to make it easy. So once we have all that, we're going to go in our .minecraft folder, and if you don't know how to get there, it's pretty easy. It's different on Mac and Windows. I won't show you how to do that today, but it's really simple. You can look that up online. So we're in our .minecraft folder, and we have mods. I already put Optifine in here, and just because I like that. But let's throw in these 4 mods we downloaded. Now, just to make sure that's all working, let's open up the launcher and start the game. And make sure we're using the right version of Forge. I have multiple ones installed, but if you just installed the latest, that should be automatically selected. So now we're gonna wait for the game to load. Here we go. Of course, we have this nice custom Forge loading screen going on. And the game is loaded and it's in full screen. Let me undo that. So as you can see, this is your basic custom menu. And we already have the music playing. I'm not sure. Oh, you know, I know why. Hold on. That's a basic menu, but I know why the music's playing. Delete. You want to let this folder will generate automatically with ambience. But yeah, let's just get rid of this and just get rid of that and then restart the game. So you're gonna have a few folders generate. You're gonna have your resources folder generate and your ambience music folder. So first of all, we want to go into our downloads and dump everything in resources. So in this case, our modpack folder into resources here. So resources, boom. I already have something in there. There we go. So just drag it in there. And then you can get rid of this folder. So in reality, I guess you can just make a modpack folder and drag it in here. And now you have all your assets loaded, but you're not actually using them yet because you don't have the custom menu configuration. And that's what we're gonna get into. But first, I wanna show you two things before we get into the weeds of custom main menu. I wanna show you one, how to make a panorama, and two, how to add music. So let's make a panorama. I guess we can just, actually, let's not do that. Let's just make a new world, create a world, preferably, just to make this simple. And what you're gonna do is, as you can see, we're loaded in the world. We have our shaders loaded. You don't have to have shaders. This is just something I like to do if I'm making a panorama. But of course, this is up to you. You really don't have to do this if you don't want to. Hold on, let me tweak my settings here. There we go. Okay, so we have our shaders loaded. Now, a panorama is basically just in Minecraft at least, it's a cube. It's an image down, an image up, an image in all four cardinal directions. So what we're gonna do is you probably want to stand on a solid block because there's a keybind that Quark has, and that'll take a panorama for you, and it involves shift. So you probably want to be standing on a solid block so your view isn't changed. So let's just say we'll take a panorama here. Obviously, this isn't ideal because we don't have all the chunks visible, but whatever. So the keybind by default is Control, Shift, and your screenshots key, which by default is F2. So there we go. If it says screenshot cancel, that's not a bad thing. That means it took the screenshot. So now we can get out of the game. Let's go back into screenshots. That's the folder we want in Minecraft. And there'll be a folder called panoramas and a folder with the date or the exact time. And this is your panorama. So what you're gonna do is you wanna copy all 6 of these files, and then in your resources modpack folder, and if you make, I guess you can make a panorama folder, this is up to you, you can paste in these 6 images like that, like so. So now that we've done that, we can load the game, but we're not gonna have the panorama yet because we haven't configured it. But first, let's also see how we add music. Hey guys, sorry about that. I had to make a quick cut, but I'm back. Anyways, we want to add our custom music. So to do that, as we saw already, there's a folder generated called ambience music inside of our .minecraft. Double click that. We got music and ambience.properties. So we're going to want to drag the MP3 we want into music and remember the name, or what you can do is just copy it without the file extension. Now open up this .properties thing with a text editor of your choice. I recommend Atom. I will link that in the description too. And we're going to be using this for the custom main menu config as well. So you're going to want to change enabled from false to true because by default it's not enabled. And then this mod can do a lot of custom event triggers for music, but we just want a main menu one. So we're going to do event.mainMenu equals the name of our file. So we can just paste that if we copied it like I did. And that should be it. Now we can save that with Control S, close, and let's start the game back up and see if that worked. It should have. Bum 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 ba-dum bum ba-dum. Okay. So it's on a bit of a delay, but then it should start. I think. Is it not starting? Oh, what did I do wrong? Okay, hey guys, we're back, and as you can see, our menu's playing music. So, really dumb mistake I made. Basically, case matters. It's event.lowercase m main menu. The second M menu is capitalized. So, just be careful when you're doing that. But as you can see, we now have music coming from our menu, so that's pretty awesome. Now, let's get into the weeds of how we actually make our custom-made menu. And just so that this video doesn't get copyright claimed, I'm going to turn that off for now. And now that we have all the resources loaded, we can start work on our menu. So we're going to want to navigate to our config folder within that custom main menu and our main menu.json. And so I'm going to be comparing the default one, which is what gives us this, with the one I showed you at the beginning of the video, which is this one for my Craft Souls pack. So as you can see, we have these two different tabs in Atom, and I actually recommend doing this. Take a pack that has a custom menu that you know, like there's lots of packs on FTB or Technic or AT Launcher, anywhere that have custom made menus. It's pretty common. And if you want to just look at that, go in that packs folder in the config and just grab its grab its main menu.json in custom main menu, and then open in a new tab in Atom and make sure you keep track of which is which, but then you can compare them side by side. And so if you don't know how to do something with custom main menu, you have a reference. And another useful thing while you're doing this is to have this page open. I'll link on the CurseForge, I'll link this. You want to click pages. This is very important because this is basically a documentation thing for the mod. But yeah, the reason I'm making this video is because I'm just going to help you basically learn to fish. I'm not going to show you quite everything, but I'm going to show you some stuff I do with menus, and hopefully you can learn. And because this is the kind of thing where you learn it by doing. So yeah, maybe put this video in the corner of your screen and do it as I do it, or try it out after you watch it. Do whatever you want. But as you can see, this is the default thing. So say we want our logo that we put in to show up. Actually, sorry, before that, we want to show our panorama, right? Because we already did the custom panorama. So as you can see at the bottom, if you scroll down here, there's this field called panorama, and it has a path. It's Minecraft : textures and then a bunch of stuff into this. And when it says %C, that's just a variable. That means 0, 1, 2. It's like sequential. You don't need to worry about that. All you need to do is basically, if you follow the directions I showed earlier, as you can see in our resources folder, modpack, panorama, we have this already. So basically, we just need to change this path from all this stuff. So just take out all of this and make it modpack : panorama / Okay, so basically what that means is modpack : that's the initial directory, this thing, then panorama, that's this one, and then it's going into this series of PNGs. So we did that. Now if we do Control R in game, that'll reload the menu. And that is, okay, Siri activated for some reason, and also that's not working. Did I not save it? Oh, yeah, Control S first. Save this with Control S, then Control R. And as you can see, we have our, albeit poorly made, but working panorama here. And you can tweak the options here. They're pretty self-explanatory. Whether you wanted to animate the speed of how fast it goes, animates along it, the blur, and the gradient. So you have that stuff, and you can mess with that to your liking. So yeah, now we have a panorama and music that I turned off because we don't want that right now, but obviously you can do that. Now let's do the logo. So you have this class here called title, and it has a bunch of attributes. Basically, the first attribute's image. Like we saw earlier, this is just a path to the file where it finds the asset or image that you made. Then position X, position Y, that's just where it's placed on the menu. We'll mess with that later. Width and height, that's basically how wide the image is and how tall it is. And then you have two other things as well. I think you have image height. You can add these yourself because they're not in there by default. And you have image width. Those are in the wrong order, but it doesn't matter. And make sure you have a comma after every line, except for the last one in a series. So this one doesn't have a comma, but all of these lines have commas. Be very careful with that. So yeah, so we have these two fields. Anyways, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to change this path first. So as you can see, we want modpack : and then packlogo.png is the name of our logo file. So we're going to do modpack : pack logo. And before we save and reload that, we want to make sure we get the image height and width right. Now, I remember the dimensions of this image because I know I made it, but you're going to want to make sure you have the dimensions of your image. So you might want to open this in Photoshop or whatever and just check the dimensions, because actually you can mouse over it like that. And so Windows will tell you that's 1480 by 880. So, wait, yeah, is that? Maybe I don't know the dimensions. Hold on. Yeah, 1480 by 1880. So, we're going to want to enter the image stuff ourselves to make sure that it scales correctly. And then this is just how the width and height are different. So these just match the image, and this lets us resize the image to whatever we want inside the menu. So let's stop talking and just show you how it works. So Control S, we're going to save that. Now Control R, reload. We did something wrong. Oh, I'm an idiot. .png. To make sure you put the extension here. Control S, Control R. There we go. We have our logo. But obviously several things are wrong. First of all, it's square, so the aspect ratio is messed up. Second, meaning it's kind of squeezed into proportions it shouldn't be. Second of all, it's in a weird place. So let's fix the weird place thing first. We're gonna wanna we have this alignment thing. So basically that means if we put these X and Y at 0, 0, it's gonna align to the top center. Or somewhere around there. You have different alignment points. Now we can experiment. So obviously less X will mean it will go to the left. If you've ever done algebra class or played with graphs, you probably know what that means. So let's do -200. We have that. Now, I could be here all day messing with this, but again, the reason I have this reference file is so that I can properly copy this stuff. So, yeah, the things that you're gonna want to copy are these things. Well, not copy, but you can mess around with this all you want, but I'm just gonna, for the purpose of time, an example, copy that. So we have this position and this width. And oops, I messed up. You don't need these for the title for image, because we have several categories. We have images and buttons. Buttons being this, images being stuff like that. Images, you don't need to define image height and image width. That's only for buttons, so ignore that. But yeah, so we also want to have the alignment set to center there. What that means basically is if it scales, like if you change the GUI scale, it's going to be centered towards the center of the screen. If you have it at the center, you'll see what I mean in a second. So let's just save that and reload. And obviously it's in the right position for our menu, but we need to change the buttons and everything else in the menu as well. So before we do that, I just want to show you what I mean with scaling by it'll scale towards the center. So if I maximize the window, it's towards the center. If I had that at top left, the whole menu, or at least that image, would just be centered towards top left. So what I recommend doing is, what I like to do is keep everything in the same alignment, so it'll stay the same size, but there might just be more space around it if someone maximizes the window or changes their GUI scale. But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. So we have our logo. Next thing we want to do is we want to get rid of this text. You can put your own stuff here too, or you can keep this, but I like to get rid of it. So we're going to go into a section called labels, and the Mojang text, you can change that to maybe say, like in my example, created by a Maxter. You can kind of use that as like a signature. And the for FML, this is basically this text. It's calling the forge text over there. Let's just say we don't want that, because we don't. We can just delete that thing, but be careful to keep wait, hold on, let me Control Z that. Yeah, be careful when deleting stuff that you keep understand the hierarchy of brackets. That sounds really nerdy, but basically what that means is you have these brackets. This just means the label section is everything in between these two brackets. So keep those two brackets. So we're going to delete this, but we're not going to delete this, because that would invalidate the section and it would make the thing crash. It would just be confused. So we're going to delete that entry. There we go. Now we can Control S and Control R. We did something wrong. Oh, I know what we did wrong. When you have the last thing if you have a series of things, you'll have a comma, but the last one, remember the last line or the last attribute doesn't have a comma. So Control S, Control R. There we go. As you can see, now we have created by a Maxter, and obviously we can tweak the position. Let me look at what I had in here. I'm just gonna copy that. -105, -110. So, or -10. So let me just tweak that. There we go. Now it's in the right place. Now the splash text, this is under other. We can do several things. I like to delete it, but say you like having splash text, the cool thing that you can do is you can actually make your own. So let's make a text file, text document, splashes, call it whatever you want, and let's add some stuff to it. Like every line is a random thing it'll select. So hello, hi, how you doing? We get those 3 lines. So save that, put it in there, and if we change the path to let's see, modpack splashes.txt, save that, reload. Oops. Sorry, you want to keep this file : thing. That's just telling it it's a file it's looking for. So we're going to do file : modpack : splashes.txt. There we go. See, now every time we reload it, it's going to select a random text from that. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, in our menu, we don't have that. But if you want to have that, you can do that. But I'm going to delete that. And just to showcase, remember, when you only have one item, or the last item, or the only item in a section, no comma. So that's already taken care for us. So Control S, Control R, there we go. We good. Oh, by the way, I should specify, if you're on Mac, it's Command S to save, but it's still Control R, I think, to reload in game. So just something to keep in mind. Anyways, so this refresh button, this is cool, but we're not really using it because we're using the keybind, so we want to get rid of it. Really simple. Make sure we don't delete this bracket because that's part of the whole button section. But what we can do is we can delete this button. Boom, boom. Now remember, since this is the last entry in a list, this language button, remove that comma. Now let's save that, reload, and it's gone. So our menu is looking a lot cleaner, but we still have to rearrange the buttons, and we still have to add that background thing we had. So let's do that. So before we mess with the buttons, let's do the background thing. So that's going to be under images, because that's just an image you have. And the way images are handled is, I think by default, they're just behind buttons. So they work great as like a background in what we're doing. So let's go into our reference file here, and we have, where is it? It's under images. We have button BG. That's just the name of the file. It's shorthand for button background. So I'm going to copy that and put it in here, but don't worry, I'll explain what everything in here means to you guys. So image, obviously we have the path to it. That's just the path. We have the depth, alignment, and the position. That's basically it. Pretty simple. But yeah, we have that. So if we save and reload, we now have the background in the right place. Now we can move the buttons to be inside of that background. So let's do that. So the way buttons work is they're not a set texture. You can actually change the dimensions of it, and it will map the texture to that. What that means is you can change the shape of these. You can change how short or how long or how tall this button is, and it's using the same texture. It basically just repeats or maps the texture, or I think there's some sort of algorithm it does to basically fill that button space with the texture you have. So we have this rectangular thing that's just a black texture with a blue border that I just made in Illustrator in like 1 minute, just an example. So what we're gonna do is let's mess with the single player button first, because that's the first one. We're gonna wanna go into what are we doing? Oh, I'm an idiot. The file path. So in this, I think it's, let me just check, make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah, okay. For buttons, it's texture. That's the attribute you want to call it. And so we're going to do that surrounded by quotes, space, colon, space, and then the path, and make sure you put a comma after that. But now let's enter in the path of that texture, and as usual, it is modpack colon, and in this case, just button.png, because it's just in the modpack folder. Boom. There we go. Now if we reload, you can see it maps our button to that. Now, I don't think I did this quite properly. You might have to tweak the image height and the image width to get the button to work. But oh, my Discord's pinging me. I'll look at that later. But you can do that yourself. I don't like to change the buttons. Of course you can, but you get the idea. Basically, you can do that, and you can tweak how it maps the image onto the button as well. So let's get rid of that. But yeah, basically the buttons, I'm going to show you. Let's just mess with them. So again, change the X to be more negative. The button moves left. We change the Y to say be less. Right now it's 48, 40. It's going to go up because the X is counted normally, like more X, more to the right, less X, more to the left, but Y is the opposite actually. So the more Y you have, the further it will be from the top. So if we put less Y, it'll be closer to the top. That might sound confusing, but you'll get it. You just gotta play around with it. Just basically mess with this stuff. Or you can just use a fixed layout like I did. Once you make a template, you can kind of reuse it. Like I like to do that, like with this reference file we have here. But yeah, since this is all simple stuff, I'm just gonna copy the whole button section and put it in here. So just to speed things up. So make sure we're getting the brackets and the label. Boom. Okay, so we have, yeah, there we go. We have everything in here. Boom, boom. Awesome. Everything's all laid out, and obviously this would take you much longer, but you'd get it eventually. Just make all the buttons line up. Like if you want them to line up, they have to have the same X, but then you put a Y in between them so that there's some space in between the buttons. But yeah, and you can also again change the width and height. So say we wanted the mods or the language button to be like longer a little bit, we could change the width to like from 20 to 30, Control S, Control R, and it's a little longer. but it's a little weird with that texture. You obviously have to have a texture of the same dimensions to make it work. It can get a little weird for some stuff, but let's try it here. Like we have a width of 125 for quit, but now let's change that to 150. Now the quit game thing is just longer. You get the idea. Or I guess let's make it taller. Boom. And now it's taller than it should be, and it's a little derpy, but that's the idea. And you want to make sure your texture matches the button. So say I make a 100 by 20 pixel texture, then my button should be either 100 by 20, or if I want to make really small buttons, 50 by 10. And the reason I chose those numbers is because that's 100 divided by 2 and 20 divided by 2. You want to keep the same proportions or the same aspect ratio. That's just something that you have to make sure of when you're designing your stuff. But yeah, I also have these buttons that link to stuff, like the Discord and PayPal buttons. How did I do that? Good question. We're going to want to go to these buttons I have here, and we can get rid of this reference thing because we basically have taken out everything we need from it. But yeah, in here we have our Discord button, and so text we have none because it's just an icon. We don't need to worry about that. We have our position, width, and height. We have the texture, the path to the file we used, and we have the width and height of the image, which should match obviously the width and height. And we have the alignment. Now, there's this thing called action, and action is an attribute that you need brackets for because it has sub-attributes. And in this case, we have type, which is open link. So there's different types of actions. This one is open link, and as the name implies, that just will open a link once the user clicks on it. So, and then you have the next attribute is link, the actual link. Well, what it'll go to when I click on it. And I just copied a Discord invite link into there. And that's what that is. Same for the PayPal. Another thing you can do with buttons that's pretty cool is you can actually change it so that when they hover over them, the buttons will be different. Or I think this is a good time to look at this, the reference. Again, I will link this, and you can find it for yourself. But yeah, we're gonna look at hover text color. So as the name implies, that means that when the user hovers over it, hovers over the button, the color will change of the text. So obviously that's not going to work with their Discord and PayPal buttons because they don't have any text, but let's do it for like the single player button. And also I want to do something. Say you don't want it to say single player, or what you would do is just change the text in here. And the reason it doesn't say single player but menu.singleplayer is because that's basically a localization thing, meaning that it'll work in any language. So it's not just raw text. That's actually going into the game's code and saying, and basically, so if someone changed the language to Arabic, this would still make sense to them because it's not saying just single player in English text. It's actually calling to a bit of code that switches out towards the language. That's something, if you have custom localization, you can do that. But again, that's very advanced. Let's just say we want to change the text to like play alone. We'll be just in between the quotes. We're going to put in play alone. Boom. Control S, Control R. There we go. Play alone. Awesome. So we have custom text. That easy. Now let's add a hover text color. So it doesn't matter which order you place in attributes. I like to have a consistent order sometimes, but it doesn't really matter. You can do whatever you want with it. So hover text color. And I believe this is a hex value. So let's just say we want it to be white or black. How about that? Would be 6 zeros. And if you don't know what a hex value is, it's basically just a color code number. And there's a variety of tools you can use to get those. Like in Photoshop, there's a lot of stuff to do that. So refresh. So that means when you hover over it, the text turns black instead of the default color, which is yellow. And we can change this code to whatever we want. If we change it to all white, you won't be able to. Oh, I gotta reload it. Wait, what did I do wrong? I did something wrong. That's 6. What did I do wrong? Let's look. Oh, is this the wrong code? No. Okay, maybe it just doesn't like that color, but let's go back to 0 to 6 zeros. Again, that works. There we go. So yeah, there's lots of attributes with buttons you can mess with, and I haven't even covered the surface of it. Actually, let's do one more thing with the button. Let's do the tooltip. This one's pretty important. You probably know what a tooltip is if you've played a bunch of Minecraft. Basically, it's that thing where when you hover over an item, it's that little info that pops up. Like Wayla, for example, it's basically just a tooltip inside of your HUD. So yeah, we want a tooltip, so if they hover over a button, there'll be like an explanation. So yeah, what we can do is we can add a new attribute, tooltip, and make sure we have a comma if it's not the last one. And with tooltip, in the text, we're gonna put play by yourself, just to explain it further to anyone who doesn't get it. So now if they hover over play alone, they can see that when they click this button, they will play by themselves. That's the idea. Or say, this would actually be really helpful for like a Discord or just any external link you have. You could do tooltip. And so in that we could put chat with us in Discord, and Control S save, Control R, and now if they hover over it, they get chat with us. So that's pretty cool. That's just some of the stuff you can do with it. Obviously, you can even have it so that there's sounds that trigger when you click buttons, and lots of other stuff. But I want to go over one more main thing. I think that's you can look at route buttons also, how they work. I think there's different modes for how you can treat buttons, but again, you can get into buttons. But let's go over backgrounds, because a panorama is not the only background mode. You can actually have a slideshow. So let's go back into our single player world and take some photos. So, oh my god, this grass is so green. I think the Quark mod also does that. Anyways, boom, boom, boom. Obviously these are just really lazy screenshots, but just a tip, if you are actually taking good screenshots and good panoramas, something you might want to do is go into game mode 3 if you're in 110 or 19. That's spectator mode. That basically means you have no shadow and you can go through blocks. It makes screenshots and stuff a lot easier. So let's take a photo by the water. There we go, we got some nice photos. So now we want to do is we want to quit the game, because every time you're adding new resources, you're going to want to reload the whole game. So we're going to go into screenshots, take our most recent screenshots, which are here. Sorry, my screenshots folder is really unorganized, but we got those, copy those, and then take those and put them here and say, let's make a new folder, backgrounds. And now we paste them in here, and obviously we probably want to rename them. So let's call this BG0, this is BG1, this is BG2, and this is BG3. You don't have to name them numbers, you can name them whatever you want. But that's just how I did that. But yeah, so like this wiki tells us, there are different background modes. So slideshow is pretty cool because it basically is, like I said, a slideshow. So instead of having a panorama that scrolls around, you can actually go between different images if you want to have that going on in the background. So we're going to have several here's a JSON example. Again, this wiki is really helpful because it even has examples. So let's just copy this to help us out. And now we're going to go into so we're going to replace panorama with background. Anyways, yeah, there we go. So image, leave that blank because we're not having one image, we have a sequence. So we have an attribute called slideshow. And this has sub-attributes called images, display duration, and fade duration. So images, this is just the sequence of images that it'll go through, and you'll outline each one of these. Sorry about that, my dog is barking for some reason. Anyways, display duration, that's just how long it'll be for, and I think that's in seconds, or maybe it's I think it's seconds. Let me check. Oh wait, that's in ticks. Okay, so 20 ticks per second is what your game should be running at. So 100 divided by 20, that's 5 seconds. That seems appropriate. Fade duration in ticks, that means how long it'll take to fade between, because it'll have a little animation. 2 seconds sounds about right. Maybe we can extend that just a little bit. There we go. Now let's fill in the paths. So modpack background slash bg0.png and etc. You can just copy and paste to make this more efficient, but I'm lazy, so I'm just gonna. Actually, that doesn't make any sense, but whatever. We're just doing this. bg1.png background, or no, sorry, modpack background slash bg2.png, and then we want one more, so we're gonna have another of these, and we're gonna copy this finally and put it in here and just replace this 2 with a 3. Okay, now Control S to save that. Now let's launch our game and see the wonderful slideshow that awaits us, unless I messed something up, which I don't think I did. I hope I didn't. Let's see. I messed something up. Okay, what did I mess up? Maybe hold on. I think background is its own thing. It's actually different from other, if I have that right. So, no, that's wrong. Undo that. Hold on, let's go back to this. This is confusing me. Wait, I don't get it. We have this right. Oh, you know what? I think I did it wrong. I'm an idiot. Okay, I didn't enter the path right. So make sure it's backgrounds plural, or whatever you name the folder. Just make sure you match the path. So save that, reload. There we go. So we did do it right. We just made a dumb mistake. But there you go. And now, as you can see, it's transitioning between those screenshots we took, which is pretty cool. And you know what? I bet you could even do like an overlay for all of them. You could have like say you want to darken the image a little bit. You could just have a thing that wraps around the whole menu that's like has an opacity, so like this, so it's not completely black, but a little black or whatever. You could do a lot of things with this mod. But yeah, that's basically the basics of custom main menu. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Hope, though, this taught you a little bit about it. And, of course, you can feel free to teach yourself more at the resources here that I'll link. And also, yeah, I'll reply if you have any issues in the comments. But always just make sure syntax is very important. That basically means dot your I's, cross your T's. Make sure everything is in order. You have your right commas in the right places, because config files are very nitpicky, so you want to be careful with them. But yeah, that's custom made menu. I hope you guys enjoyed that. So that was how to add a panorama, music, and just custom stuff to your menu. So yeah, that's it for this video, but see you in the next one. Goodbye.